Just when I'm out, I get pulled back in. Have to start it off, though. Big Sales! How you doing on this Monday? You guys did it to me again. You did it to me again. You know, we go back and forth all the time here. And we take a shit on one another for the next 4 hours. By the way, Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 3:30, and then we will have on the legendary Gary Cobb at 4:30. All right. So I'm watching the Netflix special with Brady, and he calls Philadelphia racist MFers. And I started thinking to myself, I go, no, and then I started thinking, wait a minute, CTE must be a real thing. Because if I'm not mistaken, he played in a city that was defined with racism. Remember this for a second here. You guys got me defending you. You have me defending you again. I'm defending you like I did with Mark Holmes. And I was with Philly 500 this past Wednesday. You had me defending you again. And so I'm going like this. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Brady is not the most revered athlete in New England history or Boston history. It's Bill Russell. And for a guy that won you all those championships, for him to take a shit on Boston, calling it one of the most racist places of all time, Brady needs to get his cities right. It's not Philly. Hey, just like every city, Baltimore, New York, Chicago, all of them have had their issues when it comes. Everybody in this country had an issue with racism. But Boston, it's still defined by that. Holy shit, last night he took a crap on Philadelphia. I couldn't believe it. I think that just goes to show you. Big Dick Nick still under that dude's skin. Big Dick Nick. Hey, dude, that guy can't get rid of Nick Foles. Okay? I mean, Bob, I was really like, holy cow. Philadelphia's racist mother. And I'm thinking to myself, come on, man. It's the greatest fan base. And because you got beat by the Eagles, man, you're still holding it against them. Man, I tell you what, you guys should wear it as a merit badge. You're still under that guy's skin. You are. Hey, Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Eagles will always rub Tom Brady the wrong way. Do you see Eli Manning on X, what he said? He goes, hey, look, I thought I'd show up to the roast, but I didn't want to roast Brady for a third time. How you doing? That's how you do it. Okay? That's how you do it. That right there, man. That's how you do it. I love it, man. Hey, I didn't want to show up. Hey, senor. Eli's like, I didn't want to show up to the roast. You know, that'd be a third time I roasted him. Eli Manning, man, with an absolutely tremendous comeback. Oh, yeah. Hey, message from a Golden Eagle. I thought it was a merit badge last night. I really did. I got to watch the rest of that thing. By the way, guys, I know some of you have been following me on X and on my social media platforms. Daughter got beat on Sunday by 10 points by Stanford. You know what she said to me? She called me up at midnight last night. She's like, damn, Dad. I said, I get it. She goes, now I know what you were talking about. I played great. I go, hey. She goes, did you ever get over this? I go, no. No, you never get over it. But it's a beginning. It's not an end. She goes, so how'd you deal with it? I go, I haven't still. She goes, so I'll never get over this. I go, no, it'll drive you. I told her this. Now she knows what this means. I don't think I've ever shown you this. You see my tattoo? It's not the 87 Canes. It's the 86 Canes. And she goes, I know why you wear that now. 86 Canes. I don't think I've ever even showed you this, Xander. She goes, now I get it. I said, you wear that tattoo for a reason. And I go, yeah. It reminds me of something that I always have to remember. You have to cross the finish line. Never get into something or never start something. And never take anything for granted. It reminds me to finish the job. It reminds me to finish the job. That's something that you'll take for the rest of your life. Okay? You take that. And you will use it for the rest of your life. She goes, man. I told her, I go, Didi, I'm going to stop talking to you now. Because you know why? This is a story I tell you guys. That when Coach Paterno was telling me how great I was after we lost the national title, I didn't hear it then. Yeah, whatever, dude. I heard it 10 years later. And then I heard it 25 years later. And then it was a sign of respect that I had for Coach Paterno and what he thought of me. But at that moment, I didn't. I didn't hear him. I was young and stupid. I go, you're kind of hearing me now. You'll hear it later. This is a beginning. And she's like, damn, Dad, this is the best you've ever talked to me about something like this. I go, well, you now experience something I did. It sucks. And it'll get better. But you'll never forget it. The only thing you don't have now is the tears. That's the greatest thing about sports, is that it's a finish line and it's a scoreboard. And there's no way around it. That's life. There's no way around it. Just no way around that. You manage your life like that, you're going to go places. So I thought it was a great lesson for her and her team. So she's coming home for a while. I'm looking forward to having her with me and getting the Three Musketeers back in the house. So we're going to look forward to that there. All right. And speaking of looking forward, I saw Fredo Sirianni and some of the comments that he was making about his new rookie stars. I had someone on Twitter go, Sills, what'd you want them to do out there? Talk shit on the young guys? No, I did not. I was listening to Xander and John McMullen this morning. What were your takeaways? Takeaways? This wasn't about takeaways. This is about building confidence for the young guys. They're not doing shit out there. They're overloading in intel. And you know what else they're doing? That was like more of a meet and greet this past weekend. That's what those rookie camps are all about. It's not about installing shit. What kind of? But it's more about giving you positive momentum. DeJohn Mitchell, Slay, CJ secondary has potential. Really? Mark, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that. Really? We're going to talk about that here in a minute. So Fredo Sirianni was doing this. Oh my God. Quinyon Mitchell, this kid, unbelievable. He checks all the boxes. And as I said, someone on social media were like, yeah, what'd you want him to do, Sills? Take a shit on him? No. He's doing everything he needs to do. PMA, positive mental attitude. It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything, okay? It doesn't. By the way, guys, let's try to get to 250 likes today. Please hit the like button. You guys have been awesome. Let's get to 250 likes today. I'd love to get to 250 likes by the end of the program. So, look at LJ. Mel Kiper, A, on his draft. These guys just showed up to their first walkthrough with helmets and shorts. A! What an A draft! Haven't played it down. Haven't had one full contact practice yet, but it's an A. It's an A. We'll see if they can play. And I think that's also going to be part of the topics that we're going to get into. Mel Kiper. Yeah, that's the same guy that thought. That's the same guy. Get this. He's the same guy, Mel Kiper, that thought that, what was that kid's name that went to the Chargers, who was in jail and got arrested and was a bum, should have been drafted ahead of Peyton Manning. 250 likes. Let's go, people. Thank you, Big Marshall. Mel Kiper. You know what? Here, let me just show you what Mel Kiper was all about. Mel Kiper runs a website, and his former best friend, who was the agent for Brian Bosworth and numerous players, Ryan Leaf, thank you. You know what he used to do? Not the first round, because that was his TV round. You know what he used to do? Because agents used to funnel money into Mel Kiper and his website, he would overrate a player because he was represented by this one agent who just, by the way, was under investigation by the FBI before he passed away. Google it. And instead of a guy being a true fifth rounder, Kiper would pump him up to be a third rounder because people were donating to his website. So, talk about credibility issues. I forget that agent's name who was being investigated by the FBI. This was a couple years ago, and he passed away, and he represented Brian Bosworth and a bunch of guys. And what he would do is he would, like a guy who was a fourth rounder, he would pump up to be a second rounder. So he was getting money through his website. Google it. I forget the agent's name. He got in trouble because he was doing this with some of the guys at North Carolina. And he got caught, that agent, and he was being investigated by the FBI. And even Kiper was starting to get nervous. The guy passed away and saved his career. So when you talk about a guy with credibility issues with me, okay, I mean, hey, you want your guy repped, donate to his website. Simple. This guy's really a great... No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. So, Google it. The agent who represented... Okay? Hey, just Google... If you Google it, you'll see his name. And the story with the FBI investigating and Kiper's name being involved in it. Very, very sneaky in a great way. All right. We got some topics here. And what do you think the preparation is going to be for the Eagles as they get ready for the upcoming season? What's the preparation? Going to a new 34, learning a new defensive scheme, learning how to play a new system, all of that. All of that, right? What's their preparation going to be? Are they going to practice harder? Are they going to add more practices, which they have? It's going to be interesting to see how they prepare for the upcoming tackle. They're not going to do any tackling. Again, by the way, that's not an Eagle thing. That's more of a collective bargaining issue. That's more of a collective bargaining deal. Okay? I think it's going to be interesting to see how they practice. Gary Wickard. Thank you very much, James. That's the agent. Gary Wickard. One of the biggest snakes of all time. Being investigated by the FBI. The FBI. And he was tied in with Mel Kiper. Thank you very much, James. Nicely done. Gary Wickard. That's right. Kiper was being investigated as well. That's LJ's boy, Mel Kiper, being investigated by the FBI. Hey, thank God the guy died. They'll be out of job or in jail. That's LJ's guy. Just a solid guy. Knows his things. Some guys are up here going like this. So what? Well, when you're hearing one of these analysts pumping a guy up and he's really a 6th rounder to be a 3rd rounder and Kiper's making money off that, you're inflating the stock value. What's the difference between doing that and manipulating stock values? Like Bitcoin. What's the difference? What's the difference? That's why it was being investigated. Oh, LJ, just read it, dude. Read the investigation. I wasn't investigating. It's simple, guy. GOOGLE. And plus, everyone knew. Let's move on here. Hey, who wrote that? Who wrote that about the secondary of the Eagles? Says it looks pretty formidable. Who wrote that? Who wrote that about CJ, about Mitchell? Here we go. Mark, DeJean, Mitchell, Slay. Secondary has potential. What's potential mean? You haven't done it. How about this one here? If you are the Eagles, are you sure you want to move off of James Bradberry? Are you sure you want to move off of him? Are you really, with helmets and shorts, going to entrust rookies at safety and corner when Josh or Joseph, you have never had success? Marshall goes, damn right. You are counting on Howie Roseman. How about this? So are you counting on Howie Roseman's evaluation on the 2 guys he drafted? You're counting on his evaluation, right? Are you sure about his knowledge of evaluating secondary people? Bradberry stinks. What stinks more? Well, he's got a Pro Bowl with the Eagles behind his name. These guys have nothing. And get this, the way the Eagles practice, you're not going to know shit. And Nick Sirianni's saying, well, he checks all the boxes in helmets and shorts. Are you really sure that you are going to turn over a secondary slot at safety and corner to a rookie. You're sure of this. When your general manager, this is the poorest thing he does. Eli Ricks is a nobody. He's a nobody. Gatson says 100%. Okay. All pro. Oh, he wasn't all pro. Okay. I'm not so sure about that. You're going to turn it over to a guy who was covering dudes versus Northern Illinois 6 months ago, to a guy who did not play well last year. How many people believe that James Bradberry was a product of Sean Desai? Here. And what if these rookies pan out? Wait a minute, Mark. Let me finish here. How many people believe that Jalen Hurts was a product of shitty play calling? Don't you fight with me that? Or don't you fight with me every day about that? That Jalen Hurts was a product of shitty coaching. Yes or no? Was he? Well, why wouldn't James Bradberry be a product of shitty coaching? You fired him too, Sean Desai. Actually, you fired two coordinators. Why is it good for Jalen and not Bradberry? Yo, Xander, or anybody in this chat could take Trashberry's spot. Oh, I see, Marshall. Jalen Hurts gets the benefit of the doubt for blowing out loud, but Bradberry doesn't for shitty coaching. I see. Wow. So you're picking and choosing, like some of the woke bastards some of you are, on who to attack and who not to with the same narrative. How insane is that? Wouldn't a comment like that apply to both? Jalen had a shitty coordinator. So did James. The entire secondary was 31st in pass defense. Are you really sure you're going to turn over the secondary to rookies? Really? You might want to pump the brakes on that one. Why doesn't James Bradberry get a chance? I think his days are numbered. By the way, you're positive? You're positive on what? That Jalen will turn it around with Kellen Moore, but Bradberry won't with Vic Fangio. I see. You can't have it both ways. But you want it both ways. You want it to fit, and you want that to fit for Jalen because you're pulling for Jalen. You're not pulling for Bradberry. You're pulling for Jalen. Hey, do I think his days are numbered? I surely do. Bradberry is on his third damn team. Nobody thinks he's good. He just a Band-Aid. That Band-Aid got $14 million per year. That's not a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid is Devin White. That's a Band-Aid. Zach Cunningham is a Band-Aid. You don't give a guy a contract extension and 14 annually and call him a Band-Aid. Sills, the only reason to overreact on Bradberry is money. Let him sit and watch. We have the money. He's an asset that another team might want midseason. Make Mitchell earn the spot. Okay? Okay? So Jalen Hurts is going to turn his 2025 season around with a new coach, but not the – oh, wait, let me ask you this. Is Slay going to play better with Vic or no? Are your safeties going to play better with Vic or no? Or is it just Jalen and the greatness of Kellen Moore? You guys, man, I mean, the way you talk sometimes, you talk stupid. You talk stupid. Jalen's got a tougher position when it comes to being more cerebral, and Bradberry's got a tougher position because he's got to be more athletic. He's not going to be doing the same shit he did a year ago. He's going to be playing center field like he did in 22. He's going to be playing center field. I happen to also love over the weekend Ira Kaufman's comment, a Hall of Fame voter in Tampa, what he said about Devin White, the linebacker. You know what he said about him? He's got an attitude problem, and he's a cancer in the locker room. Not my words. Ira Kaufman's words. And that's another reason the Bucs moved off him. Shitty attitude and a cancer in the locker room. Welcome aboard. That should be some dynamic. Ira Kaufman, who's been on this program, who I revere, is a Hall of Fame voter, said that, and he doubled down this past weekend on it, that Devin White is a locker room cancer. Locker room cancer. And he's got an attitude problem. You can get mad at me, but, and I've known Ira Kaufman 30 years. Ira doesn't throw that around. He just doesn't. It's not who he is. Okay? So you got Gardner Johnson, Devin White, and me play Slay on your team. Once again, don't get mad at me for saying that. Those aren't my words. Those are Ira Kaufman's words. So if you get mad at me for repeating them, I'm just the deliverer of content to you from a guy who covered him for 5 years. Not me. Called him a locker room problem, an attitude problem. This guy's in the league going into his 6th year. That's something you want to bring on your team. Guy who bellyached about his money. You're going to give jobs to rookies because how he drafted them. Really? You might want to have a better process here. Make the guys go out and earn their gigs. And I mean not just in helmets and shorts, but actually in training camp in July and in the exhibition season. That's how you're going to prepare for the Packer game on September 6th. Not handing out Howie Roseman's starting assignments. Seriously, this stuff here, it boggles the mind. You don't earn a job in Philly. You're assigned a job. Quinyon Mitchell is going to start. Now, here's the case. They're not going to cut him prior to June 1. Why? It's a $14 million cap hit. If they can him after, they can add $4 million to the cap. And because of the new collective bargaining agreement, they can drop the money on 2025. Okay? And remember something else about Devin White. I don't really cover the Bucs. I know a lot of people in there. When you started hearing the stories and everyone knew, because remember something, and to ridiculous LJ's point, remember what he asked for? He asked the Bucks for $100 million, and everyone was like, wow. He wanted a $100 million extension, and everyone was thinking the Bucks were going to do it. And then everything started coming around. He didn't want to play. He was a locker room cancer. He quit on the team, and that's why he got beat out by a rookie. At the beginning of the year, the Bucks were high on him. Well, like everything else, a player plays himself on a team or off a team. Just like in your case with Carson Wentz. Wentz got a huge contract extension. He played himself off the team. Happens all the time. Happens every day. The Eagles flip-flopped on Wentz. Gave him a $38 million deal, flip-flopped on him. Why? Because the player underperformed. Look at you guys. You're flip-flopping on Bradberry. Gave him a contract extension 2 years ago. You paid him $14 million a year. Now you want him off the team post-June 1. That's not flip-flopping? Help me out here on that. You draft a corner? That's not flip-flopping? What is that called? And if you cut him today, on May 6th, you have a $14 million hit, which they won't. They'll wait till June 1. I think they're probably going to. Christopher, I actually think he does like him. Look at Big Trag. He says I flip-flop, but Howie flip-flop on Bradberry. He's the one that gave him the contract, did he not? Hey, Reyes, did Howie flip-flop on Bradberry? Yes or no? Yes or no? 2 years ago, he gave him a contract extension. $14 million annually. Tell me, did he? Now he wants him off the team. Oh, probably not. Not your golden boy. He didn't. Get this. Christopher says he didn't flip-flop. Now he's going to cut him and take a hit. I see. I see. I see. Sure. So if you're the Eagles, you're going to start a rookie at corner with a brand new 34 defense. He's going to play zone, which is going to be cake. Zone defense versus press or man. You don't have to be a tremendously gifted player to play that. You just don't let anybody beat you deep. That's what they did in 22. So for me, when you want experience back there, I think James Bradberry has a chance to have a bounce back year. Here's Gabe. Sills, you have to be honest. Keeping Bradberry will not make us any better this season. Oh, I think it will. I'm not turning my defense over to rookies. Since when has that worked out for you? When has it ever? These youth cornerbacks will play better. Really? What makes you say that? Bradberry was absolutely atrocious. Wait a minute. And Gabe, was Brian Johnson absolutely atrocious, according to some? Was Matt Patricia, who completely screwed over Jalen Carter, and also Sean Desai, did they not screw that entire defense up last year? How are you guys only applying that to one side of the ball? Jalen gets the benefit, but Bradberry doesn't. Why? What makes you think Hurts is that good? He's not. He is not that good. When I mean not that good, he's not Josh Allen. He's not Mahomes. He's not Burrow. He's none of those guys. What makes you think he's going to turn that around? Gardner Johnson made Bradberry. Marshall, Another Reddick situation. Howie may like him. However, Fangio may want to move on. That's how I look at it. Marshall, you never seen Q Mitchell Island? Pack your bags. I saw him against Ohio University. He was ordinary at the Senior Bowl, and he's not going to just jump in there and be a lockdown corner. Coming from a small school, too, you're assuming he saw Gardner. I want to see it. I don't give people and rookies the benefit of the doubt. That's wishful thinking. Why do you give people the positive? It's being positive. Here's what's being positive about Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. You're drafted. You're getting a salary. You were drafted high. That's the benefit of the doubt, and that's where it ends. Why are you assuming that all of a sudden these guys are going to be superstars when that never translates, especially in Philly? Why are you assuming that? How can you assume that? Look at Stevens. Q Mitchell, Coward Mahomes' nemesis. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes is spending sleepless nights over Mitchell. Phew. I'm sure he's in those 3 Super Bowl MVPs of his. I'm sure he's losing sleep over Quinwan Marshall. He's probably just unbelievably sleepless nights. Sills is crazy with that Mahomes not. Yeah, okay. Hey, Spin. Whatever. Sounds like you're assuming they will suck. No, I'm assuming they will be rookies. Once again, I'm not saying they will suck. I'm assuming they'll be rookies. No, that's him adding that. I never at any time said that they would suck. You're assuming that. You're not giving the process of matriculating your game from the college level to the pro level and giving it time, because that's what you do. You're assuming shit. Seals, you mentioned that you watched a Senior Bowl and I thought the game he played in. No. Scout said during the week, which I didn't see, and he was practicing Monday through Friday, that he was ordinary. I thought he actually played well in the game, and I said that a couple days ago. But that it's 2-a-days at the Senior Bowl. Okay? Hey, guys, please. Right. Let's try to get to 250 likes today if we could. Please, I appreciate that. What exactly is your problem with the Eagles? What problem would I have with them? Did someone in the organization do something to you personally? No, I don't know what you're talking about, guy. Be more specific. Nolan Smith was a rookie. You say he sucks. He did suck. He was terrible last year. It was awful. What do you want me to say? A lie? That he was great? That he showed promise? That he was exceptional? What exactly do you want me to say? Tell you something that he didn't do? Let me know. He was terrible. Look. Drafting 2 DBs early means Trashberry's gone. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. Sills, Gardner Johnson patrolling between the numbers. I like that. Allows Bradberry to focus from the numbers to the boundaries. His strength, Gardner Johnson helping in pursuit, makes Bradberry a better player. Not great, better. He was a Pro Bowler with that situation and scenario you just pointed out, Bob. He was a Pro Bowler. So no matriculation for Nolan Smith. He couldn't get on the field. he couldn't get on the field. How many games was he healthy, no stats or no play or DNP'd? He couldn't get on the field. I mean, and with a defense that was in a nuclear meltdown, you're telling me he couldn't get on the field? Why? A defense that lost sacks at a monster rate and couldn't cover anybody, and he couldn't get on the field. MG goes, Bradberry was actually all pro. Imagine that. Well, hey, MG, you know what's crazy? What I don't get is how come Hurts gets the benefit and Bradberry doesn't? First of all, I'm a woman. And secondly, I just want to know, is it only the team that's absolutely not good to you? I didn't say they weren't good. They're frustrating. They're frustrating because they should, instead of being 1-3 in Super Bowls, they should be 3-1. It's a frustrating organization. And your general manager, like I said, gets in the way of your success. And here's a prime example: passing out assignments and not earning them. I want to know what the preparation is going to be. Actually, I think that Sills has no patience for our rookies. Sills has no patience for the rookies. I mean, what are you talking about? Sills has no patience for the rookies? You got to keep Bradberry. You're too young in the secondary. That's my take. Okay? That's absolutely my take. Okay? That's my take. I think you're too young in the secondary. I think you're going to have to keep Bradberry. And get this, if you think he's done a great job and you think the rookies are making it happen, cut him. Cut him. It's after June 1. I'm not getting rid of him after June 1 until I see how these rookies play. Okay? I'm not. CJ and Slay, I'm missing something. I'm not sure what that means. Bradberry will stay this year. He will help with CJ over the top. The only thing that's going to help with CJ over the top is Fangio's defensive system and style. It's funny. LJ says, let's see what happens in camp. Since when does camp matter in Philly? When they don't practice. They don't play preseason. Since when does that matter? Remember something. You don't have to earn a job. Jalen never earned a job. He was given an assignment. No one earns jobs in Philly because the GM hands out starting assignments. It's not like going to San Francisco like Javon Hargrave said. This is my problem with cutting James Bradberry. You're not earning a job. I hear people going like this already. Mitchell will start. Beat him out. Beat him out. Tell you what. How can, with the way that the Philadelphia Eagles prepare for a season, how can Mitchell beat out Bradberry when you're not given the opportunity to beat him out? You're forecasting again. You're making critical decisions on defense without earning a job. Sills, who's faster, Bradberry or Mitchell? That doesn't matter, guy. I don't give a shit how fast you are. I only care how good you are. Spin goes, those rookies aren't starting. Prince goes, Sills has dementia. So you're going to have a guy who 6 months ago played against Northern Illinois. Get this. Once again, speed matters for corners, not in zone. Don't get beat deep. Get a pass rush. Oh, it matters when you don't have any pressure and you're in a 34 and your coordinator doesn't bring blitzes. It surely matters. Mattered last year. So if you had Jalen Hurts in the wrong system, doesn't it go to contend that Bradberry was in the wrong system too? Who says that Mitchell's as good as Sauce Gardner? You're assuming that. First, the rookies will have a hard time learning the scheme. Absolutely. And get this too, Troy. They've never even seen NFL tempo yet. LLJ goes, didn't Gardner's face the same criticism? Gardner earned a position because Robert Saleh had say on the defense, and Robert Saleh made the call for him to start. Okay? So if Vic makes the call for him to start over Bradberry, I can't wait to see that. Now, let me ask you something. Who do you think Vic's going to side with? A veteran or a rookie? Or is he going to do what he's told and have Howie do it? I think this is going to be one of the most interesting things you can possibly have. I think this is why Howie has hedged his bets on Bradberry and how much he likes him. And he still hasn't shut the door on him. You know why? I want to see Vic cut him. I want to see him cut him. I get out of that mindset of redshirting first, second, and third rounders. Those first three picks must play and start. Hey, Marshall, are you still behind the Kobe Dean? Or have you seen enough? It's not who we trust. It's what works and what doesn't. That's trust, dude. I'm not going to put a guy into a system that doesn't know what he's doing. I'd rather have a guy in my defense that knows where to line up and what to do versus a guy who's the most gifted athlete on the planet. You can have all the talents in the world, be the most gifted athlete you've ever seen. If you don't know where to line up, it doesn't matter in that league. This is what I tell you from the college kids, where you can dominate with athleticism. In the NFL, you dominate with athleticism and knowledge. Not just because you were the 22nd pick in the draft, which they bombed at massively on defense. And in the last 8 years, they've drafted 4 linemen, and that's it on defense. Pump the brakes on getting rid of Bradberry until you know what you got. Everyone in Philly's like, oh, he's out. By the way, I'm not saying I don't think he's not. But you might want to pump the brakes and let the kid earn the job first. How about this? That's a great one. Forrest, no one would ever say that TJ Edwards. Here's a better one for you. Flexen, I think he's out too. Hey, Flexen, who do you think is a better linebacker, Devin White or TJ Edwards? No one would ever say that TJ Edwards ran a 4.45. No one would ever say that. But who would you want as your Mike linebacker? TJ Edwards or Devin White? Who would you want? One guy is one of the most gifted athletes. One of the most gifted athletes to get drafted. Who would you want, though, as your backer? TJ or Devin White? That's what I'm trying to convey to you. Right there. Is Mitchell a better athlete than Bradberry? Yes. That's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about who's a better football player. If positions are handed out, why did Dean didn't redshirt? He was on IR. He wasn't redshirted. He was hurt and he stunk. Dude, he was on IR, and every time he wasn't on IR, he played. And then when he got hurt, they went to IR again. That's not redshirting. What's the use of drafting first rounders to sit? Makes no sense. I've had enough of Dean. By your logic, hey, can we put up that big Marshalls? By your logic, no first rounder pick should start. You missed it once again, Marshall. Earn the job. You don't get handed out starting assignments. What did I start this program out by saying? I started this program out by saying, what's your preparation going to be to prepare the defense for the upcoming season? Dean played special teams. He sucks. Stop it. He sucks. He can't stay healthy. Stop with Nakobe Dean. He's no good. Stop it. It's easy to do this on May 6th. But when September 6th comes, he sucks. Over with. I don't want him on my team. I don't want him in my starting assignment. And I don't want Howie Roseman handing out starting assignments because he's a third-round fucking pick. There's my point. Okay? Stop with this. But again, it's just another way to cleverly come here every day and to be argumentative on something that's obvious. Very simple. Forrest. Don't do this, Forrest. You can't sound like that because you sound too intelligent. And I could say the same thing for Trashberry, so we're even. No, you can't. The difference with Bradberry and with Dean is he has an all-pro next to his name. Nakobe Dean has all trash can next to his name. And 14 million reasons you don't cut him today. Because your general manager, I guess, effed up. Right? Right? How he effed up on James Bradberry? Yes or no? In hindsight, he effed up, right? Right? Look at this guy. And Devin White was all pro. And the Bucks moved off him. I guess they flip-flopped too. Bradberry as an anomaly was an all-pro as an anomaly. Really? Playing in his own defense with a team that got 70 sacks. How much coverage do you think you really have to have when your defensive front gets you 70 sacks? I agree with you, Christopher. Nakobe Dean's starting. Come hell or high water. They'll hide him. They'll do whatever. They won't practice him. He won't be ready again. And Jordan Love is going to torture him like he tortured the Cowboy defense. And he won't be prepared again. He'll be on IR by week 2. Panthers and Giants moved off Trashberry. Okay. And your guy gave him $14 million. So let me ask you this then, Marshall. Giants and Panthers moved off of him, and your guy gave him $14 million. Huh. Okay. Gave him $14 million. Oh, I see. Wait a minute. I didn't think about this one, Xander. LJ. Can we put this Bradberry as streaky up, that LJ? Can we put that up, Xander? I want to show you something here. Jalen Hurts is streaky. One good year followed by one bad. That's been his career. What's the difference? Jalen Hurts is streaky. One good year followed by one bad. That's been his career. Bradberry, excuse me. You praise our guy when he gave him $14 million. I didn't think he was wrong. I'm asking you guys because you guys now want him out because Howie doesn't know talent. He likes the guy. I didn't say that. You're the ones that want him out. I don't want him out. I did praise him. I still praise him. I'm not getting rid of an all-pro. You're the ones that want him out. I don't. No, don't change the room on me. I've never said I wanted him gone. Okay, I don't. I want one of those guys to beat him out. What? Literally no one in the chat is saying he's out. Wait a minute. How many people believe post June 1, James Bradberry will be terminated for his services by the Eagles? I do. How many people in here? Crowley, 1. Tell me. Out, 2-ish. How many? Let's see. MG2. No. Now he's changing it. Okay, let me see. Not another slot guy. 4. Dude, everyone knows and feels he's gone. I think that's a risk. I think it's a risk. Now, here's something, though, that if Vic changes their preparation and Mitchell beats him out, like, watch this. If you see Mitchell playing in the exhibition season and you watch him in the exhibition season, and then you watch James Bradberry in the exhibition season, and we all both go like this, Sills, come on. Mitchell's better. You got a great start to a career because he'd be the first defensive player that you drafted that won a job. Okay? I loved how they brought Jalen Carter along. I loved it until Patricia got the job. Then he destroyed him in the rest of the season. Okay? Players get hurt during camp. We need depth. So you're going to go into another season with players like Dean. And once the September hits, you're going to roll the dice on Howie's judgment on defensive players. How has that worked? How has that worked? Best linebacking core in league. Surely the smallest. How about this? On May 6th, one thing is for sure, they're the tiniest. And a 34, too. 2 tiny inside linebackers. Tiny little guys who have to take on guards head up. Good luck. Never happen. I'm going to make a prediction to you. With those Mike linebackers and the Kobe Dean and Devin White, if those are your linebackers, starting September 6th. Xander, this is a prediction. If you have Nakobe Dean and Devin White starting in September as your inside linebackers, you'll lead the league in yards against when it comes to yards against the rush. You'll be the worst rush defense in pro football. Let's stop arguing with Sills and move on. Sills tends to twist the narrative. Yeah, I twist the narrative. How am I twisting the narrative? You're talking about starting rookies without earning the job by beating a guy out in camp or during training camp. I don't like the process they have. I'm hoping this was the topic. What is going to be the process on how it will be determined that Mitchell wins the job? Because Howie gave him a starting assignment like he did. Look at this. Do we not agree? Right now, the guy who was handed a starting assignment, Nakobe Dean, he hasn't earned it in his 2 years here, but he's been handed that starting assignment right now. He's your starting inside linebacker. Where in the world does he earn that? He hasn't beaten anyone out. They don't practice. I want someone to win a job. Let me tell you something. I think that Cooper DeJean kid's going to win a job. I don't know where. Would it shock me if Cooper DeJean beats out Gardner Johnson? It would not. Get this. I'm hoping he beats him out. You know why? I don't trust Gardner Johnson. I don't trust him. And I think that's going to be his natural position. All right. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 3:30. Gary Cobb at 4:30 from Fox 29. Guys, we're trying to get to 250 likes. I'd really appreciate it. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.